con una camarita de eso.
De hecho, empieza.
All right, we're live.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Now we are. Oh, we've been live.
Welcome.
All right. Welcome. Hello, familia. ¿Cómo están todos? How are you? How's everyone doing? We are having a special live event. I hope that everybody is connecting. We are still celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month, and we have a lot to talk about. And also, we're gonna be talking about the launching of the Latino Franchise Association. And why don't we start talking about this special I would say month. I mean, it should be a year round, but we have to celebrate. I mean, at least we have a month. We have a reason for as Latino Hispanic to really celebrate and commemorate all the greatest accomplishment. I mean, there has been a tremendous amount of events across the nation celebrating, Hispanic Heritage Month. Moisés, un placer, bienvenido, welcome.
Bienvenidos a todos y a todas.
Also, let me introduce also with us Richard Santos, also, who's gonna be joining us, and he will be talking about some of the great things that we have been working on and that we're gonna be providing for people in the franchising industry. Richard, how are you, my friend?
Welcome. I'm doing great. Welcome, everyone.
So, Moises, why don't you tell us about the Hispanic Heritage Month? I mean, what's really...
Did you know, Rafael, that the Hudson River, before it was called the Hudson River, that we're not talking about the native name, it was called the San Antonio, named by a Spaniard who sailed up the Atlantic Ocean and explored, way before any other Europeans had done so. Did you know, for example, as well, that the first colony was not Jamestown, it was St. Augustine, and it was set up by the Spaniards 40 years before Jamestown. These are the treasures, I think, that you get to find out and to explore during Hispanic heritage, and to find out and to figure out that we've been here longer. We're not invisible. We've been here since the very beginning in this continent, and this is our land as well.
No, definitely. I mean, there is a lot of history. There is a lot that has happened, and I know that in many ways the Latino contribution or the Hispanic contribution has been tremendous, has been significant, and we feel like the country is also, we're part of the fabric of what the United States is really, all about. What do you think, Richard?
For sure. Before we continue, why don't we take a minute to introduce ourselves, because there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna watch this video live now and also record it. So it's important that they know who we are, why are we here, why are we doing this. Why don't we start with Moises?
Well, I am Moises Perez Martinez. I've been living in New York for over 50 years. That's almost all of my life. I do consider myself a New Yorker and an American citizen, proud American citizen. I spent most of my life working on numerous community development projects, developing the social infrastructure in our communities, the public, but also the business infrastructure. Particularly in the last 7 years, developing healthcare initiatives and highlighting the role that our community doctors and our local entrepreneurs play in our health system, and now engage in this project of really promoting full blown the franchise model in the Latino community. So it's very exciting to join these you guys that are real pros in this area, and the mutual learning that's been taking place has just been phenomenal.
Excellent. Rafael, Mr. Alvarez.
Well, I mean, a lot of people by now have either know who I am or have heard my name. I've been in business for over 35 years, franchising over 20 years, and built brands, franchise brands from scratch. My first brand, I built it with $200, two computers, and a fax machine. And now, I mean, I'm now the founder and the CEO of the Latino, Franchise Association, and we're launching a whole bunch of new initiatives that is going to help Latinos across the nation in franchising. I am very passionate about franchising. I know what franchising is really all about. I learned the hard way, making a lot of mistakes, and at the end of the day, I'm happy to be part of what we as a group are building. And I know Richard, you has been in a way kind of my right wing uh, in, throughout our franchising career. I mean, in many battles, many projects, and many things. Richard, why don't you tell us who you are now?
Yeah, so I'm originally from the Dominican Republic, so I'm Dominican. Like Moises, I'm also consider myself a proud American citizen. I'm also, even though I've been out of New York for over 17 years now, I still consider New York to be my hometown, and I'm
It's in
very
the
proud.
heart.
Once you become a New Yorker, you never go back. So on the day to day, I'm an entrepreneur. I have been able to create and co-found many companies, and like you said, Mr. Iris, I'm also very proud of spending the last probably over 15 years working on the franchising industry, especially particularly in the marketing and technology area of the franchising. And I'm also very excited to be able to share with you and also learn from you guys because you have a lot more experience than me. So for me, every day is like a growing opportunity, and I'm very proud of that. So, and I'm very excited about what we're doing with the Latino Franchise Association, which is what we're going to talk about today. So, very exciting.
Fantastic, fantastic. So now that we people have an idea who we are, and by the way, I'm also I'm also from the Dominican Republic. I want to say that. But I'm also very proud U.S. citizen. I mean, all my daughters were born here. My whole family. I've been here for almost 40 years in this country. So, I'm very passionate. I mean, and I'm very, very thankful for all the great opportunities that this beautiful nation have provided to me, my family, and a lot of my closest friends. So anyway, let's go into business, guys. Once again, we're talking about Hispanic Heritage Month. You guys want to contribute, add anything else? I know that there are a lot of celebration. There was a huge gathering in what was that at? In Arizona. It was celebrating the U.S. The Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, the United States, the U.S. Chambers of Commerce were having their annual convention in Arizona. A lot of good friends. I couldn't make it. Very busy traveling all the areas, um, but
Well,
but we want to go ahead. We said
one of the things that I want to add just about Hispanic heritage, say for example, in New York, when I was growing up in New York decades ago, it was essentially a city where the Latinos were Puerto Ricans, and then slowly the Dominicans began to creep in, and Colombians, to Queens and Ecuadorians. Uh, and about, I would say about 25 years ago, you began to see the little, drip of Mexicans. Now it's the third largest Latino community in New York City behind New York. And we have a real representation of all Latinos, and that's really exciting. And I think that's what I celebrate during Hispanic Heritage, and the opportunity for us to work within a broader spectrum where we're all from, the three of us, happen to have roots in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, in my case, too, both of those islands. But the feeling in New York City is that we have the entire Latino community here present in big numbers and expressing themselves culturally in business. I mean, a Mexican business, it has contributed to the tax base in enormous ways in the city of New York. In fact, I can't even imagine where we'd be without Mexican labor and the businesses that they've also launched, and what has done
Tremendous contributions. Yeah,
to the
tremendous
tax base.
contribution.
So
Yeah.
exciting
Yeah.
to be live in this moment.
No,
Mhm.
definitely tremendous contribution by the Mexican American community across the nation. I mean, without them, I mean, they are the largest group within the Latino, the Hispanic community.
Two
What is
thirds.
amazing is to see the diversity. Even though we are one group, we call it Latino, Hispanics. I mean, that would be another day, another topic that we should
Yeah,
look at. The difference between
that'll be another conversation for
that was
sure.
another conversation. Why sometimes some people call us Hispanic or the Latino now, Latinx, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, we are one group, but a tremendous amount of diversity, which is really, really, really amazing. I mean, something so it's very interesting because you look at Dominicans and Puerto Rican, they look alike, but we are a little bit different. I mean, you look at Ecuadorians and Peruvian, they look alike, but they are very different in a way. And you look at Mexican and Guatemalans, I mean, the same thing. And you go across Latin America, and you're gonna see, so many Latinos that we all speak Spanish, but we have different dialect, different accent, different word. Even the food, the diversity. I mean, it's such a great diversity, and for me, that's what really makes us special in this country. That I mean, I hate to say it, but we have to promote our culture more, so other groups across the globe, because there are people from all over the world here in the United States, so they could really understand the diversity within the Latino or the Hispanic community, because they have to really embrace it. I mean, I hate to say, when people think that everybody, all the Latinos or Hispanic in this country, they think that they are Mexican. If you are in the in the West Coast. If you're in the East Coast, they think that all the Latinos are Puerto Ricans, right? Or Cubans, if you are in the Miami area. And that is not true. You know
But
that. So,
But the problem is that when we were growing up in the Dominican Republic, we thought we were Mexicans because we listened to more. My father listened to more ranchero music than anything
That's
else.
right.
I used to think that all of those Mexican greats were Dominicans because that's what came on the television.
but
But
you know what I've been noticing, guys, that with technology now, the internet and everything that has been happening, I would say that is kind of technology, and the internet has been in a way erasing the borders amongst Latin American countries. Nowadays, people that have never been in country through technology, Google Map, etc., they can go and visit country without actually moving, getting out of their home, and they can learn more about the culture. They can really learn more about the dialect. I mean, you say one word in one country that has a different meaning in a different country, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So things are really changing, and I believe that with technology and with time, all Latin America is becoming more one unique and one unit. I mean, and now here that we all are in the United States, why don't we talk about the Latino contribution, guys? And Rich, I know that
Let's do it.
we really have contributed tremendously to the growth of this great United States, whether people like it or not, want to accept it or not. Numbers speak louder than anything else, right? We all say that, especially people that know about numbers. But when you're talking about the Latino GDP, I mean, and by the way, what the numbers that we're gonna be talking about and share with you guys, in case that you haven't seen them, these are not numbers that we came up. I got this number participating at the Latitude conference in San Diego, California, about a week ago, and this number was put together by a very prestigious organization called Latino Donors Collaborative. It is these people spend a lot of money, and they have a PhD of economic researchers that really spend all year round putting all of these numbers together. So if you want more information, just visit the Latino Donors Collaboration.org. That is the website, and you can find and download the official report that they put together about this number. What do you guys? Who's gonna go first?
But essentially, what they did was to extrapolate data from the overall the composite economic data to to suggest what the Latino presence within that larger scope is. That's where that data comes from. Is that our understanding?
Of
So
course.
this number comes from actual economic data.
Now,
Yeah,
2.8 trillion Latino GDP growth. Is that a lot of money or not?
that is huge. As a matter of fact, if you, I think you show in the next graph, how we compare to the whole world, essentially, right? So we are the fifth largest economic country, or if we were a country, we will be the fifth among those countries. As you can see from the graph, if you're looking at the screen, we're number five there, U.S. Latinos, and that's mainly Latinos, obviously, in the United States. Because one of the things that we also need to mention is that as Latino community, we are one of the fastest growing community entrepreneurs. So we're opening more businesses than any other community. So that's why you see these numbers, because we're driving the economy through businesses. And that's what also what we essentially want to do with the Latino Franchise Association, which is help those businesses that are starting and that are Latinos.
I mean, you know what it is to have a group of people, a whole bunch of Latino in a country like the United States, that based on their income, based on their productivity, based on their expenditure, literally, we are we have a growth domestic production that is larger than countries like the United Kingdom, India, France, Italy, Canada, Korea. I mean, and the rest of the world ahead of us. There is only four more countries: the United States, China, Japan, and Germany. And by the way, we're catching up to Germany. So maybe in about 3 or 4 or 5
Yeah,
more years, we might become number three or number four, number five. I
most
mean, that is,
likely.
that is amazing, amazing contribution. I mean, like I said, number speak louder than anything else.
And,
Says,
well, and this is today. This is what the snapshot looks like today in 2020. But Sol Trujillo, the legendary business leader who started the group and hosted the conference that you attended, pointed out that in about 40 years or so, the Latino community is going to be about $128 million in the United States, and that is going to dramatically change the American economy. And the question is, how are we preparing for that? I think.
Hmm.
and if we continue across the board, you're gonna see, I mean, tremendous amount of growth, and like this one, we are Latinos in the United States are the faster. We have the fastest personal consumption in the U.S. compared with other, ethnic groups here in the U.S. What about this one, Richard?
87% on growth in buying power. That's also huge. That means that we can buy. We have the I guess the power, the income to be able to invest in different things. So we definitely have a lot of power, a lot of influence in how the economy is driven in the United States.
I remember a latitude when Sol Trujillo was having a fireside with, I think it was the CEO of Sony Entertainment.
Hmm.
And basically, he said to him, "Hey, my friend, we're having a total disconnect here. I mean, how come in the movie industry, Latinos are consuming 59% of the tickets for movie tickets are purchased by Latino. So we've been buying more tickets than anybody else. We've been even eating your popcorn, eating more popcorn than anybody else. How come in the movie industry we don't even have 5% in terms of Latinos actors, movie directors? I mean, name it across that whole industry. So basically, he kind of he put a lot of pressure to the CEO of Sony Entertainment. Basically say, hey man, we're just asking for our fair share. If we're really consuming so much, if we're really buying the majority of the tickets in movie theater, I think that we would like to see more Latino movies, more Latino actresses, more Latino, actors and directors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, so that is just that. I mean, if you look at then at streaming, I mean, we Latinos are number one now. Subscribing more to all the streaming platforms, Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, etc., 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 which is really interesting.
And
Let
in
me
both languages.
let me ask you a question for you, for both of you, Rafael and Moises. Because we understand this. If we digest or if we go deeper into these numbers, what this is telling us is that we are heavy consumers. Like we buy things, we make our contribution to the economy, because if nobody's buying, the economy is not growing, the economy is not moving. So when things get better as far as economically, that means that we also have we contributed to that. But the question that I have for you guys, us as Latinos, Hispanos, are we thinking about changing the role of being more on the leadership side, on the brand owner side, as instead of just staying as consumers? Because this is great, don't get me wrong, but I think that we need to start thinking about how we can be on the other side of the equation, because that's why we need more leadership. We need more um, us creating our own brands instead of us depending, let's say, for example, on Hollywood. Why don't we create our own Hollywood, right? Why don't we create our own things, like, which I can give you an example. This guy, African American, um, I forgot his name right now. It's not coming to my mind, but essentially he was doing theater and he's doing the Madia. I forget his name. It will come up later. But the idea is that he was not accepted, or they didn't take his movies in Hollywood. So what did he do? He created his own studio, and now he's
Oh,
hiring
you're talking about he's in Atlanta, Georgia, of course.
Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's
So
huge. I mean, you're talking
he's
about
huge now.
not,
Yeah. So,
yeah, definitely. Look, like anything else, we definitely gonna get there, but we're not even close yet. I mean, I can tell you, I'm part of the Stanford University,
mhm,
Latino Business Action Network at Stanford,
mhm,
and there is a group there that they just did that, Richard, believe it or not. They these are Latino actors that knock. They live in Hollywood, they live in LA, and they knocked so many doors, and all the doors were just being closed. I mean, they couldn't
slam.
get the
Yeah.
gigs. So
Uh,
what did they do? They created a studio. It's called Avenida Studio, movie
There you
studio.
go.
So now they are making movies and then doing their own thing. So I totally agree with you, but like anything else, it comes with knowledge. Number one, it comes to realizing who we are, what do we have, what do we produce, and then unity also. Because if we don't get together as one group, there is no way that we can really, get what we deserve out of the whole pie. In a way, that's really what it is. What
uh,
about it, man?
Richard, that's a great question. It's a great question. I think it goes to the real heart as to why it is, and we've had these conversations, amongst ourselves and many other people. Um, Franchising is a model that can effectively bring services to our community, and I think this is the real hardcore issue, that it has always been difficult, to some degree, for majority sort of institutions to work well in our communities. They've done it well when they partner with people and they figure out a way to sort of get in there from within, and through franchising, and particularly, I don't see that. And we've had this conversation. How do we move this franchising model forward in our community,
Right.
um, within structures that are just not sort of geared, to move in our community? And it became real clear that it was important to create a structure, not because it was rejected or anything like that, but because we can more effectively move and develop and grow in our community, in this means. And the
Right.
entrepreneurs that have understood that, that is really I think the motor and the engine behind a lot of the business creation in our community. That our entrepreneurs have, they see it. They see the spots where there are gaps, where the services and and supplies and materials are not getting to people in the way that they need them to get to them, that is culturally relevant and appropriate. and they've gone on, to put their businesses in places. And so this has been, I think, the question that you raise, I think, is essential as to why this association is so important, and why it is critical in order to move this model forward and to promote it and to educate people about it in the Latino community.
Mhm. It's important.
Richard, the person that you were referring to before, um, his name is Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
Tyler Perry Studios.
yeah, he's huge. I mean,
Yeah,
he's doing his thing, and I'm very happy for what he has done. And he's
yeah,
continued doing for the African American community. I mean, we're not there
absolutely.
yet. We're not there yet in that industry, but I know what's his name, Verges, the movie, the Mexican American. What is the name? His name, uh, Guillermo Verdes.
Yeah, something
I
like
think
that.
that's his name. He has a movie studio, believe it or not, and he was in Latitude, and his team was there, and they've been really, really building momentum on that.
Okay.
Well, let's continue so we can really
But,
start talking
but,
about.
but that now that you ventured into that, into that theme, I have a hard time not making a quick comment, and that is that that industry in particular has been so incredibly guilty, of excluding and depicting people of color
Mm,
in not the best kind of a way, and they've made enormous improvements.
right.
But I mean, you just got to go back to any movies of the 40s and the 50s and 30s, and it's just, you know, we're not depicted as we are as a community. Again, the reason for Hispanic heritage.
Hmm.
And again, the reason why it has always been really critically important, if we're going to move an agenda that it's important in our community, to do it with instruments that people in our community feel comfortable with and can work effectively to do it. And that's why we're doing this.
I
Right.
was talking about Eugenio
The rest.
Derbez. Eugenio Derbez.
Eugenio Derbez.
He
Yep.
has a movie studio called what is it? Three something. Eugenio Derbez movie studio. So he has something called three S. I don't remember the name of it, but he's also getting big. So now 80% of the U.S. small business growth. I mean, Latino represent now 80% of the U.S. businesses grow are coming from Latino. Latino opening more businesses are creating more corporations than any other ethnic group in the United States. Believe it or not,
Mhm.
the largest small business revenue growth um, combined. I mean, what we are generating, like we said, the fifth largest GDP economy. So we small businesses. I mean, we have so many small businesses within our community across the nation. We are becoming like the heart of the country in a way, right? Small
Mhm.
businesses. That's really what it is.
For sure.
78% of the U.S. Workforce, growth. I mean, more and more job opportunities. I mean, it was very interesting to see at the Latitude conference or to hear that this was by there was a doctor, speaking about Latino contribution and specifically what
Mhm.
really transpired during the coronavirus, pandemic. That a lot of people don't give us the credit that we deserve. But while a lot of people stay home, taking care of their family and being safe, a lot of Latino, the majority of the people that were there, really risking the life in terms of a group, ethnic group, were the
Mhm.
Latino. We were in mass, really working in hospitals, in places, understanding and knowing the risks that we were taking. But they were, and don't, like I said, don't get it for us. Just look at the facts. Just go and read, do your research, because that's what we're talking about. It's really now that the pandemic is kind of getting to closure. Now we're looking at the numbers. We're looking at who died, who lives. I mean, it was really amazing what really happened, there. But it was, for me, it was great to see and to hear that Latino made a significant contribution during the pandemic, crisis.
I'm reminded of a movie that came out a few years ago called, I think it was something like A Day Without Mexicans. And it was a movie that you
That was the
probably,
movie.
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
called A Day Without Mexicans.
Wow.
And it was in LA, a little bit of a comedy, but it
Uh-huh.
showed how incredibly important and vital and critical and essential to the life of the country Latino labor is, in that, in particular, Mexicans, out there. in the West, that if we took off for even a day, it would be a disaster of tremendous proportions for the United States.
Right. So Mr. Harris, all of these statistics, I think, shows the opportunity that we have, right? And to share with the community, share with people that are gonna be that are connected, watching this live right now, and people that are gonna watch this video after it's recorded. This is what we're gonna talk. This is what we want to talk about today, right? We want to talk about how we also, as leaders in the community, wanted to contribute more, and creating opportunities for those business owners that we essentially talked about. So this is why we wanted to share with you the Latino Franchise Association. Why don't we start with the mission, Moises? What's the mission of the association?
Well, the mission of the association is very simple, and if you give me 1 second, I will read it to you off of my board. So it says the mission of the Latino Franchise Association is to promote, support, and expand the franchising model in the Latino community. Very simple. The keywords: promote,
Mhm.
support, and expand the model.
Excellent. And Mr. Harris, how we're gonna do? Let's go back. How are we gonna do that? What's the functions that we're gonna be doing in order for us to do this, to promote, support, and expand the franchising in the Latino community?
Well, we all know that franchising is nothing new in this country. We kind of created the whole business model of franchising. If you go back in history, I mean, very interesting history in franchising. As a matter of fact, franchising started here in the state of New York. One of the first franchise established. It was the first one that is officially recorded as the first franchise company. Started here in the city of Rochester, New York, upstate New York, near Canada. As a matter of fact, a Canadian was the one that established a franchise in Rochester. So franchising is a business model that has been around for many years. We know that there is a premier institution in the franchising industry as an association called the International Franchise Association, of which I have been a member for many years, like 20 years, and I'm very proud. And our goal is not to compete with the International Franchise Association or IFA. I would say it is more the opposite. What we're gonna do is really now attract a new wave of people into the industry, specifically Latinos that we know that they are hungry. They really want to grow. They really want to take the business to the next level, and they don't know how. So what we have realized is that out of 4,000 brands that are franchise brands that are in the nation, many of them you guys know which one they are. Latino owned. There is not even 1%. 1% of 4,000 is 40. Is 40. Believe me, there is no 40 franchise owned by Latino in the United States right now, which is really interesting because how come if we have almost 20% of the population, we have not even 1% of all the total number of franchise brands in the country. So total disconnect. And part of our goal is to really change that. And the same thing with people that own a franchise location. Whatever the number is, our goal is to now double, triple, quadruple that number and really incentivize more Latino to invest in franchising. So we know that there is a huge challenge that we have ahead because we have to start with the basics. And the basic is basically start educating our community, educating the Latino community about what franchising is all about. Because something, at least the three of us are clear. None of our parents told us, hey, go to college, get a college degree. You could find a great job, but if you invest in franchising, you will become a multimillionaire. None of that was part of our language when I was growing up. So franchising is not part of the Latino culture the way I understand it, the way I have seen it, because I travel all over the country, done a lot of presentation to a lot of Latino groups, and there is always at least one or two then that ask me, como la cosa, well, how this works. So I'm gonna work, make money, and you want me to give you a percentage of what I make? Ah, no, 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 no. For that, I do it myself and keep 100%. So every time I hear Latino tell me that, it's, oh man, these people, they don't get it. They still don't get it. And I understand it's all about education. It's all about the culture. And that's part of our mission. And we definitely have to do a tremendous amount of work promoting it, educating, and really, making people understand the value that franchising can do for them, for the family, and everybody around them. Because every time we launch a new franchise brand, we're talking about creating a lot of jobs opportunity to a lot of people within their community.
And
I
yet,
think. Go ahead, Moises.
I was going to say, and yet the ball is rolling in the Latino community, according to the U.S. Census. In 2010, 11.24% of all franchise businesses, not the brands, just all businesses, according to the census, were owned by Latinos. That number in 2019, 9 years later, jumped to 14.29%. And some are boasting, oh my God, what a huge increase. And they point to the fact that it's the group that had the largest increase in terms of involvement in franchising. We look at it differently. In 9 years, that's all we did. And we think we could do so much better when you consider that 52% of all new businesses in the United States are created by Latinos, according to the US Census. And that's an opportunity that we can't continue, I think, to miss. And part of it is that we have, you asked, Rafael, how are we going to do it? Well, part of it is that we're not waiting for people to come to us. Our approach is not to put things out there and hope that people will come and take it and what have you. We know that we have to be aggressive and go into our community and call on the business leaders that we know and bring them around the table inside the community in a very internal kind of a way and begin to really move this agenda forward so that franchising becomes really known throughout the community. And that's really important. And one other thing that I want to highlight that I think it's very important. I've been in New York, as I said, 50 years. When I came to New York as a kid, all of the small businesses were owned by Puerto Ricans. All of them. And we've had this conversation. From the bodegas to you name it, the linoleum store and what have you. Those businesses were so difficult to run, with people spending 12, 14 hours a day and really struggling to what, it is to really build a small business. That their children who were able to get educated, obviously, because they were successful business people, did not want to stay in the business world. And so I look at that at communities that are coming, Latino communities into New York City with this incredible energy to build businesses and to work and to do things. Um, what what do we need to do? What can we do? Is a thought that is always on our minds to make sure that we preserve that entrepreneurial spirit and that wealth from one generation to the other. And that's a central, I think, goal and strategy and task for us to organize, around the franchise model in the Latino community.
Right. And I also want to emphasize when Ms. Aris, when you were sharing the stats as far as the percentages of Latinos in the franchising industry, I think were you referring to brand owners? Because there are a lot of Latinos that invested in franchise, but they're not the brand owners. I think what we're talking about here is both. It's us being the franchise brand owners as well as the franchisees, right?
Uh, that's exactly what I said. Believe me, I've
Yeah.
been there and I done that. And I
Mhm.
can tell you, I mean, everywhere I go, I ask people, how many people do you know? How many Latinos do you know that owns a franchise brand?
Mhm. Right.
Besides me, I think. They say, "Oh no, I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody." No, oh my God. Well, so well, think about it. How come you don't know anybody? I'm not talking about celebrities. I'm talking about people that are, anchor in TV networks, and you don't know anybody with all the people you know. So that is an issue. The issue is that, yeah, there might be a lot of franchisees, but when you compare the number of franchisees that own a unit of whatever, it could be Domino Pizza, Dunkin' Donuts, or whatever. When you compare that number with the population, still we are completely off. And the goal of the association is to change that around, is to promote it, is to really incentivize people that if they have a successful business, to take that business and launch it as a franchise and open up hundreds or thousands of locations, or perhaps to take if you don't have a business, then invest, buy a franchise location in whatever, McDonald's, Domino Pizza. There are so many, even in the hotel industry, which is really interesting. I've been talking a lot to some of the big players in the hotel industry. And you know what is the Latino ownership in terms of that industry? It's almost like 0.05%, not even 1% of Latino are investing in hotels across the nation, which is a problem. Why? If we have so many other businesses, it's part of the same thing. Is a disconnect between franchising, and then I'm sure that we can turn that around, Richard.
So I think it's important to talk about why, and why it hasn't been that way, right? Because if you understand the why, then you start thinking about the opportunities and the possibilities. And I think one of the things that not a lot of Latinos are brand owners is because of the investment, not only money but also knowledge, because that's part of our jobs now to promote, educate, our community as far as franchising. But you and I, Rafael, that we've been in the trenches, right? We've been creating a brand from scratch. Literally, we did that, but we know how hard that was, and we know the investment that it takes. So I'm wondering, what are we doing as an association to create funds to help those Latino owners that might say, "Oh, I like what Rafael is saying. I like what Moises is saying. Yeah, this is a model that might work for me because I've tried in the past." We all know bodega owners who tried to have two, three, five bodegas, but there was no system. There was not a structure. So what are we doing to help our Latino community to say, hey, this is a viable model that I can invest in, but I just don't have the money? Because it takes, as you know, it takes money, time, and resources to get a brand off the ground. So what are we doing about that, Moises?
Well, that's another great question because it really is right the heart of any business. It starts, with funds, and you can't go to any business gathering with business owners where the issue of access to capital will not, come to the table. I've been around for decades, and I've gone to hundreds of those meetings, and it has come up over and over again. So we're not waiting for somebody else. The association is in the process of developing a fund to support, entrepreneurs to enhance, their own base, and an educational program, as you pointed out, also to help people improve their credit ratings, their record keeping, bookkeeping, all of the things, that are important when you're trying to access capital. And we're working with financial institutions to do that. Those are not things that obviously happen overnight, but it is really central to much of the work that that we'll be doing in order to promote the model.
I wanted to highlight now the vision,
Mhm.
our vision, Richard.
So I think we already mentioned some of this. I think um, our vision is really to become the go-to place for everything that has to do with franchising. We have the experience, we have the knowledge, we have the team that has many, 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 many years in the franchising industry, and that we are able and we're willing to share our experience to help our community. And it's really to create a home, really, for Latino business owners, successful Latino business owners also, uh, that are looking to go to that next level, right? So we want to create that space where they can come and say, "Hey, I want to grow. I want to take my business to the next level, or maybe I want to start from scratch." And we want to become that go-to place where people feel empowered, well people are not seen like they're crazy, because a lot of times this is something that maybe we can talk about in another live or in another time. But a lot of times when you are in our community, when you're thinking big, because when you're thinking as in franchising, you're thinking big. You're not talking about just one location. We're talking about you spreading out through nationwide. Taking your, maybe if you have a taco place, now with the help of the association, you will be able to get the funds, get the knowledge, get everything you need, all the resources, and take that taco shop nationwide. Not only New York, but take it to California, Chicago, Texas, Florida, anywhere you want through the franchising model. And that's what we want to become, the go-to place where people feel safe to be able to share their ideas, and that feel like they have someone that they can trust, because that's, for me, that's the community, right? That's the best thing of being part of a community, that you're not seen like you're crazy or that you have this idea that nobody has done. No, we want to become the go-to place for everything that has to do with franchising in our Latino community.
And we're a go-to community. I remember a number of years ago, I couldn't stop laughing because I asked this Salvadorian how it is that Salvadorians, came to amass great numbers in Washington D.C. And he
Mhm.
said to me, the simple answer: that's the capital. That's the pop. That was the go-to place.
Yep.
And right now, that space doesn't exist for Latinos in the franchise world. There are spaces. We're not saying that they're not there,
Right.
and there are people who are doing great things in those spaces. But in terms of having a major go-to space that brings, for example, that aims to organize, like we will, for example, a major convention to bring the community of Latinos that are franchising together to talk
Mhm.
and plan and organize and strengthen each other, and support each other and do the things that we purport to do in our mission. That
and and,
space
and the
doesn't exist right now. That's the go-to space that we are speaking to.
Mhm.
advocacy, Moises.
Advocacy is absolutely clear, clear, I mean necessary. uh, there's literally, many years ago I've learned, somebody defined Washington D.C. to me as a pile of money and a lot of people trying to get to it. But it's also a pile of rules and regulations that shape
Uh,
the way and the form that people do business. And for an industry like franchising, not to be completely connected to these processes that are going on right now, particularly right now where the economic situation, merits nothing but paying very close attention to everything that is happening in the business environment, because it will have a major impact. We are undergoing right now one of the most profound paradigm shift that we've experienced in the world since World War II, and that has enormous impact on business, on franchising, on community life, and politics in Washington, D.C. So we will be paying very close attention to the political process. All of us, well, Rafael, myself, and Richard, have a long history of involvement in policy and politics, and visiting with our elected officials, educating them on the issues that are important to us, and organizing and educating the Latino elected officials as well about franchising and the impact and potential for the development of our community. So that will be a very important piece of work that will be undertaken, and we'll be reaching out to people to help us pull that together, because the only effective strategy is a collective strategy when it comes to doing advocacy into putting weight on the political process.
Um, Richard, what did you talk about the values? I mean, or Moises?
Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you have there in the screen, we definitely value self determination. I think that as a community, it shows that we are determined. If you look at the number of businesses that are being open, I mean, that's for me, that's determination, because to start a business, to become an entrepreneur, to believe that you can do it, that's determination. For me, we have that, and definitely the second part of our values, I guess, is equity and participation. We want to be involved. We want to be part of the decisions that are being made that at the end of the day not only affect us as a Latino community but the whole country. So we want to be we want to be part of those conversations. We want to have, like, I think Moises, says something like we want to have a seat on the table, right? We want to be able to be there as leaders, and be, have our voice
Hey,
heard, because that's
isn't that what Lin Manuel Miranda says in Hamilton? You want to be in a room where it happened, the room where it happens.
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
look,
remember, we are, what
Alexander,
is it? We are 18% of the population in the United States. Is it 18 or 20?
19, almost we're 20,
19.
pretty much almost like 20%.
So I think it is not, we're not asking for much. We just, we're a big part of the country. I mean, we should be there. We should be on the table making those big decisions.
well, I think that we're asking for understanding, I think, and awareness, um, because look, no one can force. The popular saying, you can drag a horse to the well, but you can't make him drink. So no one can force development in our community. It has to happen from within. That's what participation means. No, no one can come from the outside and really expand franchising or any business model in our community if it doesn't happen from within.
Mhm.
And without too much, study or knowledge and theories, immigrant communities build incredible business network, but they don't know about franchising and how that can take them to the next level and how that can help them organize the business and delivery of services and goods and products to the community in ways that that we just begun to explore. But it can only happen from within. That's what
Mm.
self-determination means. It doesn't mean, don't get involved with us, we're doing our own thing. It
Right.
means that if it doesn't happen from within, it will never happen. And
Mhm.
that's our job and our goal, and those that are listening to us right now, to work with us to incentivize and to motivate the community, to really learn and understand this model and to see, how it can impact even daily life in our community. I think those are the values, that drive, what we're trying to do above and beyond everything else. So it's a lot of collaboration,
Right.
working with other people, but developing internally.
Fantastic. Now let's briefly talk about the methodology. How we really gonna do this? I mean, it looks like we have a lot of work ahead of us, guys. A lot of work. A lot of work.
That's what makes it more exciting, Mr.
I
Harris.
know, man. It's really we're ready for the challenge.
Because
Sure.
when you that's part of having a mission. It's not gonna be easy. Nobody said it was going to be. So is good that it is that way, because that's gonna keep you motivated, driven, and disciplined.
So basically, what we're gonna be doing is providing a forum and a vehicle for Latinos engagement in the franchising industry, including major events, expos, advocacy, educational, business, and mentorship opportunity to be able to coach them, to be able to, the way I say it is to be able to take them by their hand and say, this is the way. This is the way where you can achieve success. Let's go this way. And yes, it's gonna be a lot of work, but we are ready. We are really ready to tackle whatever challenges we might have. We all, I mean, we have a team with people combined over 150 years of experience in franchising, our core group. And then from there, we're going to grow. The way we see this association to expand is by being able to create what I call a chapter system. So we just don't want to be just all centralizing, controlling everything. We want participation. We want to open it up. We have a lot of people that has been we've been talking to a lot of Latino leaders across the nations, and so far, everyone that we talk to, they are in. They want to be part of this. They want to jump in. They see the value. They see that there is a lot of great opportunity there. They see that they can make a difference in the local Latino community. So we're gonna have chapters from Puerto Rico to New York, from New York to California, from California to Miami, from Miami to Chicago. And we're going to have a representative from every single state that is going to be basically replicating the model that we're going to have, doing events, local events, promoting franchising, educating the local people in terms of about franchising, and really have what we call like a how do you call it? We says a grassroots campaign.
Grassroots campaign
Yeah, like really like running a political campaign. So in this case,
from within.
we don't have a candidate. Our candidate is just franchising, which is gonna be our model. We already developed our landing page, which is really already vibrant. It's already fluent. In case that people wants to visit us, they can really find us at www. Um, LatinoFranchise.org. Here's a peek of the website. This is work in progress, guys. It's not completed, but we just wanted to give you a peek of what we are all about. I mean, impacting the franchising industry with a new perspective, advocacy, networking, technology, mentorship, and growth opportunity for all. Um, basically, what we're gonna be really doing is opening the door for everybody. We understand that there are a lot of Latinos that are not in the industry. They have no participation at all in franchising. We're gonna call them, we call them entrepreneur, whether if it is an attorney or local restaurant owner that wants to learn and wants to know more about franchising. But this is our main focus. It's gonna be franchisor, franchisees, obviously suppliers and entrepreneur. And we're gonna be really embracing the industry, looking and knocking a lot of doors, identifying successful Latino business owners that have great business model that basically helping them to launch their business model into the franchising into franchising by providing them the tools, the training, and the support and everything else that they are going to need.
Question, Mr. Iris. I think maybe someone that's watching this video right now or that will watch this video later might be wondering, do I have to be Latino to be part of their association?
Definitely not. I mean, the, the the goal to be part of the association, it is open for everyone. It's in a way it's kind of the opposite. We really want to um, be able to open our communities to a lot of great brands that we have in this nation: McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Kentucky Fried Chicken, etc., etc., etc. They all want to be able to have a presence in the Latino community for Latino to invest and buy their brands and open other brands within the community, and also for Latino that will go and visit their local brands, whatever brands they have in our community, so they can become the clients.
Mhm.
So we can achieve both, but it have to be with collaboration. So we're asking anybody, any brand owners, any franchise brand owner that wants to be part of this is more than welcome to be able to become a member. There are a lot of benefits, a lot of great things that we're gonna do. We're building a lot of technology behind our main platform that is gonna enhance the productivities and it can enhance the benefits that all of our members are going to receive from a franchisors to be able to connect to a lot of people within the community that can buy and invest in their franchise brands, to franchisees that perhaps they have already invested and own a franchise location, and they would like to increase their revenue by attracting more clients to buy their products within the community, to suppliers, people that are vendors, providers that really want to connect with our ecosistema, which we're gonna call it El Centro. It's gonna be called El Centro as the center that is gonna group everybody else, and even including the entrepreneur, the way we call them, which are, like I said, people that are not a franchisor, are not a franchisees, they are not a supplier, they're not into this, they don't really, they are clueless about franchising, but perhaps they want to learn more, they want to become a member of the association and be able to learn, get their feet wet, and eventually one day to perhaps either launch their business into franchising, or invest into any particular franchise brand. I'm sure that you guys seen the movie uh oh my god, the McDonald's movie, the
Ray Kroc.
yeah,
Ray Kroc.
yeah, I'm sure that anybody that invested money,
The founder.
the founder, yeah, I was watching it yesterday, and again, seen it like three
Like,
times, but
You
very,
know,
it's very interesting, that movie. The more I see it, it's amazing. So my point was, imagine people that invested money back then, now they are billionaires, with what McDonald's is really worth. I mean, they just, I saw the Franchising Time magazine releasing the 500 report, the top 500 franchises, and McDonald's is number one, generating $112 billion. I mean,
wow.
amazing. So that's what we're talking about, and that's what we really want our Latino community to realize, understand the benefits and the potential that their business can really grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and go nationwide, or perhaps go global, because some of these franchise brands started local now. Look at them all over. I mean, McDonald's is one clear example. I mean, they started local, and look at them; they are all over the world.
So
Anything
what
else, guys?
what are the next steps? I guess, Moises, I know you were gonna say something. What are the next steps for the association? I think you mentioned that there's a lot of things in the process. There's a lot of things that we're working on right now. But Moises, why don't we talk about like the
right.
what we're doing now and where we're going moving forward?
So to be clear, this is a preview. This is a sneak preview to the Latino Franchise Association. You're getting it sort of hot off the press, so to speak. We will be in the next couple of weeks be inviting folks to join us for an official launch with the media and key and critical partners from around the country, because this is a national effort. We're not, limited to any geography of the country. Wherever Latinos don't live in a vacuum, and neither will this association. It will be wherever Latinos and all over the United States. So we'll be calling out for people. We're also building the structure by state. We already have three states that are organizing chapters, are in the process of getting in touch with people. So these are the activities, that we are undertaking. We're creating and talking to financial institutions about creating the fund that we referenced, a little while ago, so that will take, of course, a little time to put into place, but we'll have that. I will be working on that as well, and we'll be reaching out to people to get help and ideas and support for pulling some of these things. This has to be very much, and this is a calling of a collective effort. We're asking, individuals, Latinos in particular, but all on these that are involved in franchising or want to get involved, to whom our mission resonates. If it resonates with you, let's get in touch, let's talk, and let's figure out a way to work together and put all of these things in place, so that we can look back in a few years and say, wow, we really made an impact, and our community is at a different point level, and we could show, the metrics to demonstrate that.
Excellent.
I think that we already covered it all. I don't know what else is left. I mean, we've been doing this for an hour. Richard, any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I'm very excited. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of work to be done, but it's needed. I think, like I was saying before, let's work with our Latino leaders and communities and everybody that can contribute to this, because really this is open. Like you said, this is for entrepreneurs. The association is for franchise owners that maybe they want to tap into a different market, or they want to grow, because like one of the missions that we have is education on the franchising industry, and that's something that we're working on already. But again, I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to everything that we're building. I know, like Moises said, it's gonna take time. Things don't happen overnight. It's gonna be a lot of work. Work with us. We want your input. We want your support, and we want your contribution, because it's gonna be needed. So definitely looking forward to that, and I'm very excited.
Moises?
Well, here's my basic message, and the reason why I'm so passionate about the association and this work. We are undergoing the most profound, I want to say it again, paradigm shift that we have experienced in the world since World War II. And it expresses itself, in armed conflicts, and how that is impacting petroleum, energy in the world, and how that impacts business, and what all of that means to Latinos who are managing their businesses in their communities. And is there an association or an entity that can help to um, filter that, work with that, and really put us on the right path? I believe, and as I've said, and the reason I've joined you, gentlemen, in this effort, that it is time for us to revisit the business model in our community. The old models that we've implemented in the past will no longer work. The food industry is different, so bodegas won't do the job anymore.
Right.
And travel is different, so we don't have travel agents anymore. We used to have a
Right.
travel agent, association in our community. So it is long past due for us to revisit the model. I think franchising is it. It brings the elements, for success. You start with a proven model that is successful, and then you build a support system to expand it and grow it. And that's exactly what the Latino community, I think, needs right now to reorganize its business and to bring services, products, and supports, to the community. And that's why we're here today.
What I really want to end, basically, number one is to give credit and acknowledge the contribution of and the hard work of some Latinos that has been in the industry for quite a while.
Yeah.
So you understand that yes, we have some footprints, but there's still a lot more. I mean, I have to recognize someone like Guillermo Perales, who is the CEO of Son Holdings, who owns over 800 different franchise units from different brands. I mean, name it. He's doing great. I have to recognize also the tremendous amount of work that someone like Claudia San Pedro, the president of Drives Inc., Sonic Drive Inc. Restaurants. I mean, she's running a global brand. I mean, I think she's the highest Latina that has the highest position in the franchising industry, and we definitely have to recognize that. And I hope that one day we do the recognition that she really deserves. And also I have to recognize Erica Garza, who also is part of the International Franchise Association, and she's the chairwoman of the Hispanic Latino Leadership Council. But above all, she's also the CEO of a global brand called she's the CEO, the president CEO of Albon Pain, which is like a bakery cafe all over the United States and other countries also. So these are three Latino that has really made a significant contribution to the franchising industry. There are three, but we feel like there should be a lot more. And our job and responsibility is to really do that, to really to bring and really attract a lot more Latino that can really, we can take that number and replicate it by hundreds, have 200, 300 Latinos that can really do what these three are really doing or have done in the franchising industry.
I think
And,
I,
and
Miss Iris also Ricardo.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, I forgot to mention my friend, mi amigo, mi hermano, Ricardo Rivera, el Boricua. I mean, it's interesting what Ricardo have done because he might not be the CEO of one of these multinational, international brands, but Ricardo, I can say based on what I have learned from him, he has really done a tremendous contribution to that franchising industry. Right now, he's managing around 47 different franchise brands, and I would say almost 99% of them are local, are Puerto Rican brands, Latino, 100% Latino, Boricua, Puerto Riqueño, marcas, brands that he has been able to help and contribute to develop and launch into the franchising system. So he's a clear model. He would be like a role model of someone that would really want to take and replicate across the nation, because what he is doing in Puerto Rico, other Latinos should be doing in every single state. The problem is that there is nobody else doing it. What I'm doing.
That's the opportunity.
Uh,
That's the opportunity.
and I also have to give credit to. I cannot forget about my friend Jorge Ferraez. Jorge, is a Mexican American, a great leader. He is running a publication called Latino Leaders Magazine. He has a few other magazines that he published, but above all, he has been organizing the only major Latino event in the nation called Latino Franchise Symposium that is usually done every year. I think he has done it for the last 8 years in the Yum headquarters in Dallas, Texas. Besides then, I don't know who else is really doing something significant that is Latino nationwide.
I know somebody who's doing something very significant, and we need to recognize his work and his vision, his political savviness, his mission.
Whoever any Latino, we're gonna find it. We're
That's
definitely
Rafael Alvarez.
You.
Rafael Alvarez. Actually, the first Dominican.
No. I'm just, I'm just a little kid on the block.
We recognize you and your
Definitely.
I just want to end. I just want to end to let people know that we are serious about this. We are 300% committed, and we're gonna do whatever it takes in order for us to really do this and really take this this organization to the highest level. We are being organized as I believe 506. What is it? 506C.
501c6.
501c6.
We are a trade
a
organization.
not-for-profit organization, right? And at the same time, we're going to expand and really build more institution around the main organization to enhance the work that we're going to be doing across the nation by creating a Latino Franchise Association Foundation, by creating a political action committee, by creating a scholarship fund, organization that is going to help students, after go to college, be able to give them some scholarships so they can go to college, and perhaps finding some internship and some of the major franchise brand nationwide, and there is a lot more ideas that are coming across that we're going to be implementing and doing to help this great and fantastic industry. All right, guys.
Thank you.
I think that we covered a lot. We said a lot, and all we're asking is for your support and endorsement. That's all.
Get in touch with us.
Until next time, thank you for joining us, and we'll keep in touch. Ciao.
Hasta la vista.
Hasta luego. Of course, we have to end with a music and merengue, happiness.
Hey, aquí somos latinos.
El sabor, sabor latino.
Congratulations.